Hi there, welcome back to my channel, Life Unedited, and today in this episode, I convinced my dad for us to start a segment called Time Travel with Dad, where he's going to talk about stories from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, his life, background stories, and from my childhood, my dad told the best stories. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this.
Now this journey between Mbarara and Kampala would take about a whole day to drive from Mbarara to Kampala, because what I remember, those who would drive from Kabale to Kampala would take 2 days or sometimes 3 days, because this road was really terrible. But now, when you see us cruising, we left Kampala less than 3 hours ago. Now you can see us approaching Mbarara. In another 1 hour or so, we'll be to Ishaka, then Kasese, which now takes only 5 hours. This would take 2 days. If you passed via Fort Portal, Chenjojo, Mubende and Mityana, it would take 2 days. Because tarmac was from Kasese to Fort Portal, then Mityana to Kampala. The whole stretch, Mityana to Fort Portal, was actually maram, and not good maram, terrible, like in terrible maram. So you'd leave Kasese, possibly you'd stay in Kasambia. It would be called Kasambia Kemina in Nabingola there. It's called Nabingola. Then maybe in the morning you'd go, and that's when you were lucky if it had not rained. But if it had rained, I remember there were places, especially that place between Uganda and Mityana, especially around Lumumba, coming to Mianzi and crossing that river Mpamujugu over the railway. Now the whole road could be very slippery. You'd find these lorries there, and so you'd spend another night there until when the ground, the mud, would be firm enough, then you would go. It was really, this side, the whole road was supposed to be tarmac, but it was in a sorry state, especially in the 80s. There was no traffic. That was the only beauty. You would drive like we used to call this valley where we're driving now. So you do pass here in buses. I think we are still real villagers would even sing in the bus. People would sing because you imagine that the bus was running very, very fast now. The people would start singing.
Like which songs?
Ajiwade, Ajiwade, Ajiwado Mlido, Ajiwade, Ajiwado Mlido. So I think we are really typical villagers who would be excited to be on a bus. So, but Ajiwado Mlido, those were the good stretches here in Nekongolere, which had no portals. But immediately after Nekongolere, then you will go in, I wouldn't even call them portals. These were ditches. You now go in ditches, reaching Masaka. Obviously, again, because of insecurity, even moving at night was not advisable. The good thing, there was no traffic jam. But of course, the potholes and ditches were enough to give a jam, a one vehicle jam. So you'd moving at a speed equivalent to a traffic jam between now, because now between Kamengo and Kampala is a traffic jam all the time when you're entering Kampala. because of the many vehicles. But then it was the potholes. You will be one vehicle on the road, but we will be moving at the same speed we move on because of traffic jam. That's why really I'm praying hard that that expressway from Mpigi is finished. Then another alternative from the west would be railway. That was another story. I'll give people who may not know, a train would leave Kampala by around 3 in the evening. So the whole night, by the way, that was the quickest. The train was the quickest. Actually, let us build the lane again. Because you leave Kampala at 3, if all moved well, if you didn't have accidents, especially in the early 70s when the rail line was still okay, because they had made this rail line from Kampala to Kasese to pick copper. And when copper was still there, it really would have a lot of traffic, cargo trains. I remember those trains, G13, G12, G14, those were trains from one direction. Then I think those going...
They look like, how did the locomotives look like?
The locomotives in the late 60s when I was young and the early 70s, they were steam engines. They were steam engines and they were really very, very, very powerful, very, very mechanical. They would do that engine, the locomotives would take water, a lot of water, after like 20 miles. To stop at the station, they would put in a lot of water because I think those were tankers which they would boilers. They would boil that water to produce steam that would be used to propel the propellers and the train would move. Sometimes it would move very, very, very fast. So those engines which looked like very monstrous things, then they would take oil. I remember they would take fuel which was black, like it was like tar in Kampala. Then you'd reach a station called Nkonge. It's near Kabamba Barracks now. I think it is in Mubende or Sembabule. It will again take it would refuel. But water, I remember all the stations because I was on this train several times. From Kampala, you would stop in Bujuko. From Bujuko, you stop in Kaworongojo. Kaworongojo to Mitiana. Mitiana, there's what we call the Sekeren, but I'm told it used to be check line, something like that. It would stop for a few minutes, for a few seconds at a place called Impamujugu, where the Mubende Road crosses the rail line. To stop there, it was called Impamujugu. Then from there to go to Myanzi, it was a main station. From Myanzi, you go to Wamala. It was also a small station. It would stop there for about 2 minutes. From Wamala, you go to Musozi, which is my place, my village. From Musozi, it will go to Kasambia. From Kasambia to Nkonge. Nkonge to Kabagole. From
Are those
stations?
Station stops?
Yes, from Kabagole to Kabuga. From Kabuga to Kamwenge. From Kamwenge to Dura River. Dura River to Kanyatete. Then from Kanyatete, you've been in Kasese. So you'd leave at 3, but arrive in Kasese the following morning at around 8. So you'd spend the whole night. And really, a train had a vibe, and that will be for another day. I will just tell you about the train, how it would bring a city in Musozi. Because in Musozi, we had the temporal cities or towns which would come with a train. So the train from Kampala would reach Musozi at around 10 p.m. So this train would come with lights. It would come with flashing toilets. It would come with the people. It would come with the bands. People, and they would stop there for eating and whatever. People would play guitars. People would dance at the station. Then after like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, it will leave. Then darkness will come back. That town had gone. Would have gone. Then you'll wait. The one coming from Kasese to arrive at around 3. then it will also come with another town now comes. So that's what I call temporal urbanization. It is temporary urbanization. So a train would come from Kasese at 3, and everybody virtually in the village would wake up to come to the station. Because either you are waiting for somebody, you are waiting for your goods, but sometimes you come to see the lights, to enjoy, because that was urbanization. Like for you would go to a town in the evening. For us, our town would be the train. The train would bring the town in Musos. So again, it will stay there for 30 minutes, then it will leave. But next time I'll tell you the journey, how the journey looked like from Kampala to Kasese and from Kasese to Kampala. It can be very, very interesting, but that will be for another day.
Okay. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye.